Good morning. I'm Pritha. It's so nice to be here. As I've listened to the different testimonials over the last few weeks, I get to go last, which is quite the benefit. And I realized we all were saying the same thing in some ways. That when Reverend Noah asked us to talk, we all were like, really? Me? What could I possibly say? And I felt that too. There's so many reasons I choose to come to St. Paul's, but I think the question I've been asked to answer is why I chose to give over the past 2 years. Why am I doubling down and saying this is where I want to invest my time and energy, and certainly financial resources? So I'm going to take you back to 2020, March. I'm sure you all remember that time. It's when COVID started. It was when you were told to go home, don't see your family, and do this 6-week situation. Well, some of you who know me know that I'm a physician, and at that time I was told the exact opposite. I was told to go to work and to take care of people, even if I was scared and had no idea what was happening. It was some of the hardest months, those first 12 months or so of COVID, trying to figure out how to take care of people. In April of 2020, a book came out that profoundly affected me, and it was written by then Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy. I hope you've read it. If not, I highly recommend it. It's called Together, The Healing Power of Human Connection in a Sometimes Lonely World. And in that book, he talks about really being lonely, that he noticed this pandemic that he felt that was developing. He started traveling the country after that, and in 2023, the Department of Health and Human Services actually issued its notice about the epidemic and effects of being really lonely. As I mentioned, I'm a physician, and every week, if you come to see me in my office in Bethel Park, I'm actually pretty good at what I do. I'll make sure you're up to date on your pap smear. I see women. Sorry. You might not know St. Paul's has a critical mass of obstetricians and gynecologists. So if you need to have a baby in the right church, if you're a man, I'm not sure girls get the church, so we can take care of you. Sorry, you're in good hands. I order mammograms. We recommend colonoscopies. By the way, it's age 45, not 50. So you need to start doing that. But what the Surgeon General actually talked about, it's interesting, I spent all this time learning about how to take care of people. But I never really learned this really fascinating fact that being lonely and socially isolated increases your risk of premature death by all-cause mortality anywhere between 26 and 29%. And none of those tests that I do every day can actually compare to that. In fact, being lonely is as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That is the effect of being isolated. And there's a quote in his report that came out in the Health and Human Services that he said that as he traveled around the country, people felt invisible, isolated, and insignificant. And to quote, someone had told him, if I disappeared tomorrow, no one would even notice. I bring this up because in the summer of 2022, I moved to Pittsburgh. And as anyone here who's a busy working professional with a family to raise, you know that when you move to a new town, you do all the things. You find a dentist, you get your pediatrician, you know your kids, you do the sports. I did all those things and I got very busy at work very quickly. But by the summer of 2023, I have to admit, I was actually pretty lonely. I was so busy, yet really was struggling to make connections. So as I drove on Washington Road that summer, I have to admit, I got lured in by the promise of Johnny Cash. So I came, and I brought a family member with me who is a tall man from Ohio who is non-binary, and so my gender-fluid family member, a short, petite Indian woman, we're like, all right, let's check this out. We definitely struggled to find churches, and we came, and we're like, this place is special. So we started to come back. Shortly after coming, I met with Reverend Noah because, joining churches, you're like, what do you really believe? In Tim Holtz's words, are you guys weird? I had to figure this out, right? And so I met with Reverend Noah, and I was like, I'm a rule follower. I'm the middle child, I'm a girl, I'm a doctor, I follow rules, that's what I do. And I was like, can I take communion? I'm not Episcopal, what is it? I don't understand what's happening. And he told me that they flipped the paradigm here. That to join churches, you typically have to subscribe to beliefs, then you start doing the behaviors, the sacraments, the obligations, and eventually you belong to a community. And he said, here, we flip it. And that was actually took a huge burden off me. I didn't have to figure it all out right then. But he said, first, you belong. And that's really refreshing. So we felt welcomed, and we belonged. And then we started to work on the behaviors, and I will tell you, if you go to St. Paul's, you cannot hide. They will find you. Reverend Aaron knows I speak a different language. She emails me every Pentecost, and I try to pretend I'm on call call because they don't want to speak that language. Laura finds out that I've got a son who looks like Joseph, and he's in the Christmas pageant, and it happens, here we go, it's what we do here. And when I dropped my children at Camp Calvary, Henry was nervous that first summer, and I dropped him off at the camp, at his cabin, and it was Isaiah, Reverend Noah's son, who welcomed him. And suddenly this sense of community and belonging. So I come to the believe part. This summer I held one of the suppers, and I told Norm, if you know Norm, how much I love the show Ted Lasso. And he faithfully, I guess, got Apple TV, and the next week he was like, binge watched all 3 series. I'm like, all 3 seasons in 1 week? Oh my gosh. And I wish I could slap a sign up there that says, believe. Because when you start believing, it means you go all in. And you think, this is something I want to give of myself. Last year I had the chance to attend the 100-year celebration. It was really wonderful. It was at Washington Elementary. And we did this exercise I felt very self-conscious about, because we had to stand up based on the decades that we joined the church. So they started in the 1940s, and somebody stood up, and I was like, oh my gosh. And they went through the 40s, the 50s, and we went through the decades, and it was remarkable. And then they got to the 2020s, which is when I joined with my family, and I got to stand up. And so it brings me to this last concept of belief and where I want to close. One, it's just convenient that this is the week of Thanksgiving, and this can feel a little forced. But I actually really wanted to say that I am so thankful to all of you who have been stewards of this church for those 99 years, and then let my family walk in on 99, and we get to do 100 years now, right? All of you gave your time, your presence, and certainly your resources to have this place where we could find community and home. I also have a belief in hope, and that was something I probably didn't have a few years ago. I say what I'm hopeful for is that in 5 to 10 years, I hope to see all my children confirmed in this church. I actually hope that they come back. We talk about it sometimes on the way home. My youngest will say, can I get married at St. Paul's and get a Pittsburgh cookie table? I'm like, sure. Yes, we can, James. And maybe my grandchildren can get baptized here. But I also have a hope that when those things that are hard in life happen, the call about a diagnosis, maybe even the time that you need to call a priest to talk about celebration of life ceremonies, that we have a home. So in closing, I want to wish each of you a very happy Thanksgiving. I want you to know that all those drops over the years have affected that limitless ripples that come to my family, and I am truly grateful. So I wish you guys a wonderful Thanksgiving, and if you need to have a baby on Thursday, not you, but anyone else, I'll be there at Baby on Thursday. We'll be down before. Thank you.